The 2026 World Cup stands as the largest expansion in football history, bringing 48 nations into 16 cities across North America for 104 matches. Mainstream media networks like CNN and Fox Sports celebrate this tournament as a historic commercial triumph. They focus heavily on record-breaking broadcast revenue and ticket sales. However, behind the closed doors of the White House and the FIFA headquarters in Zurich, a severe diplomatic crisis is unfolding. 4 days into the competition, the narrative of a flawless global celebration has shattered. Millions of international viewers watching broadcasts see massive blocks of empty gray seats in multi-billion-dollar stadiums across the United States. The opening match at the Azteca Stadium in Mexico City delivered an electric, sold-out atmosphere that defined the true soul of football. In stark contrast, American venues face severe operational challenges, extreme summer heat, and logistical gridlock. This public embarrassment has triggered immediate action from the highest level of American power. President Donald Trump is actively placing immense pressure on FIFA President Gianni Infantino to fix these visible failures before they permanently damage the international prestige of the nation. President Donald Trump views the empty stadiums as an unacceptable insult to American capability, especially since the United States hosts 78 of the 104 total matches. Mainstream news reports attribute these problems entirely to unpredictable weather conditions or minor transport delays. They hide the intense geopolitical clash currently occurring between the White House and football's governing body. While Washington demands immediate scheduling changes and aggressive ticket interventions, America's co-hosts are moving quickly. Officials in Mexico and Canada are rushing to deploy extra resources, stabilize regional logistics, and re-engineer fan experiences to salvage the reputation of the entire North American continent. This investigation exposes the hidden friction between raw corporate greed and national pride. The Global Football Festival has transformed into a high-stakes arena where political power collides with billionaires, and the true cost of this crisis will ultimately impact everyday consumers worldwide. The traditional media tells you that scheduling conflicts are merely accidental, but the reality proves that an economic war is being fought right before your eyes, changing your relationship with the sports industry forever. The chain of events began on June 11th at exactly 6 post-meridium in Mexico City. Inside the historic Azteca Stadium, 100,000 fans created a deafening wall of sound for the opening match of the tournament. Every single seat was occupied. Every chant was synchronized. Every moment felt deeply sacred. FIFA President Gianni Infantino sat in the luxury suite, convinced his expanded 48-team experiment was an absolute masterpiece. He saw massive dollar signs, global acclaim, and flawless execution. But this corporate euphoria lasted exactly 20 hours. The clock ticked to June 12th at 2:15 post-meridium in Dallas, Texas. The Netherlands faced Japan inside a stadium where the temperature outside reached 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Because the facility lacked full climate control for the massive influx of people, the air inside became thick, stagnant, and oppressive. On international television, you did not see a global celebration. You saw exhausted players collapsing during mandatory hydration breaks. You saw rows of empty gray plastic seats because regular fans could not afford the $3,000 ticket premium. You saw corporate sponsors sitting in air-conditioned lounges while the actual stadium bowl looked like a desolate ghost town. This was not a minor scheduling oversight. This was not a temporary logistical hiccup. This was a systematic failure of corporate planning. Gianni Infantino chose maximum profit over human endurance. Then came the true boiling point in Washington on June 14th at 9:30, ante-meridium. Inside the Oval Office, President Donald Trump initiated a secure phone call to FIFA headquarters in Zurich that lasted exactly 11 minutes and 42 seconds. White House insiders report that President Donald Trump did not exchange standard diplomatic pleasantries. He confronted Gianni Infantino directly about the embarrassing broadcast images transmitting from American soil. President Donald Trump operates on visual dominance, absolute national prestige, and media perfection, viewing those empty seats as a direct insult to his administration. He demanded immediate ticket price slashes and an immediate rescheduling of afternoon games to primetime evening slots. Gianni Infantino, a corporate king accustomed to absolute compliance from sovereign nations, attempted to cite rigid commercial broadcast contracts with major European television networks. President Donald Trump cut him off mid-sentence. The message from Washington was clear: fix the optics or face federal tax audits on all tournament revenues generated within the United States. The tension escalated later that afternoon at 4:30 post-meridium in Los Angeles, California. the United States men's national team took the field against Paraguay. On the grass, the Americans performed brilliantly, securing a dominant 4-1 victory. Yet, as the final whistle blew, the television cameras panning across the stadium exposed an uncomfortable truth. Entire upper tiers remained completely vacant. Thousands of ticket holders were stuck outside, trapped in a massive traffic gridlock that paralyzed the highway system around the venue for 4 straight hours. Fans who flew across the Atlantic Ocean to witness history spent their evenings sitting in stationary buses under a blistering sun. The stadium lacked atmosphere. The streets lacked organization. The event lacked soul. By June 15th at 10 ante meridiem, the panic reached the upper echelons of the organizing committees. While Gianni Infantino remained silent in Switzerland, urgent diplomatic cables flew between Washington, Mexico City, and Ottawa. The United States was winning on the pitch but losing the global narrative. The contrast was too sharp for the world to ignore. Mexico had the passion, but the United States had the empty stadiums. But Trump broke the script. To truly understand why the 2026 World Cup is fracturing after only 4 days, you must look beneath the surface of the mainstream media narrative. You must look past the current heat waves. You must look past the empty seats. The roots of this crisis were planted in June 2018, when the united joint bid of the United States, Mexico, and Canada won the hosting rights in Moscow. Back then, it was marketed as a grand gesture of North American unity, a shining example of continental cooperation. But a closer inspection of the legal contracts reveals a completely different reality. This was never an equal partnership. This was a hostile corporate takeover disguised as a sporting event. Out of the 104 total matches scheduled for this tournament, the United States claimed 78 for itself. Mexico and Canada were handed crumbs, leaving them with just 13 matches each. The entire architecture of the tournament was engineered to serve one specific purpose: to project American macroeconomic dominance on a scale never before seen. The United States government and Wall Street private equity firms viewed the expanded format as a perfect mechanism to stimulate domestic infrastructure, capture billions of dollars in foreign tourism, and monopolize global broadcast rights. They designed a massive wealth extraction machine. This brings us to the core of the problem, the hidden iceberg that Gianni Infantino and corporate sponsors desperately want to hide. There is a fundamental, irreconcilable conflict between American sports capitalism and the authentic soul of global football. In the United States, sports are treated as a premium entertainment product, tailored for corporations, billionaires, and elite suite holders. Major tech companies and financial institutions bought out massive blocks of seats before the general public even had a chance to participate. They priced out the heartbeat of the game. They priced out the working class. They priced out the true fans. Look at the infrastructure investments. The United States boasts multi-billion-dollar stadiums equipped with massive LED screens, luxury lounges, and advanced digital ticketing systems. Yet, 14 of the 16 selected venues lack comprehensive climate control systems capable of handling the extreme summer heat of June and July. Why? Because the developers prioritized high-margin luxury boxes over basic human infrastructure. They built monuments to corporate greed, completely ignoring the geographical reality of a changing climate. They assumed that money could overpower nature. Now look at the television broadcast arrangements. FIFA sold the broadcasting rights to major networks for billions of dollars. To maximize viewership in the lucrative European and Asian markets, corporate executives forced early afternoon kickoff times in cities like Dallas, Houston, and Miami. They knowingly scheduled intense physical matches during the hottest hours of the day, completely disregarding player safety and fan comfort. They did this for one simple reason: to satisfy the insatiable demands of corporate advertisers. This is the capitalist trap that has now sprung shut. The United States wanted the prestige of the biggest tournament in history, but they tried to run it like an exclusive corporate convention. They forgot that the true power of a World Cup does not come from the luxury suites or the digital advertisements. It comes from the raw, unbridled passion of ordinary people singing in the stands. Mexico understands this implicitly because football is woven into their national identity. The United States treated it as a business transaction. The historical precedent is undeniable. When the United States hosted the tournament in 1994, it set attendance records, but it relied heavily on a sports culture that did not understand the global game. 32 years later, the corporate elites believed they could simply scale up the model by adding 48 teams and charging astronomical prices. They miscalculated the global landscape. They miscalculated fan tolerance. They miscalculated the climate. The numbers do not lie. The receipts are clear, the illusion is broken. The aggressive corporate strategy engineered by the United States organizers has officially backfired. The pursuit of absolute control, maximum profit, and global dominance has created a cascading operational crisis that Washington cannot contain. This is the classic boomerang effect. The very systems designed to extract wealth from football fans are now destroying the credibility of the entire tournament. The financial receipts tell the true story of this collapse, exposing the desperation behind the corporate curtain. On major secondary ticket exchanges like StubHub and Ticketmaster, ticket prices for neutral group stage matches plummeted by 75% within 48 hours of the opening ceremonies. In cities like Houston, Miami, and Atlanta, tickets that originally retailed for $400 are now being dumped for less than $40. Everyday consumers refuse to pay premium prices to sit in sweltering, uncooled stadiums. International corporate sponsors, including giants like Visa, Coca-Cola, and Qatar Airways, are holding emergency meetings with FIFA officials behind closed doors. These corporations invested hundreds of millions of dollars expecting a vibrant global festival, but their branding is now being broadcast next to vast oceans of empty gray plastic seats. The infrastructural receipts are even more damning. Official meteorological reports indicated that 14 of the 16 selected venues regularly experience extreme summer temperatures exceeding 95 degrees Fahrenheit during June and July. Yet the United States Organizing Committee chose to bypass the installation of comprehensive, stadium-wide climate control technologies to protect their short-term profit margins. The consequences of this negligence are now manifesting on the ground. In Dallas, Texas, and Houston, Texas, local emergency medical teams reported treating over 350 fans for severe heat exhaustion during a single afternoon match. The severe storms in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, further exposed the total lack of contingency planning, forcing thousands of fans into unsafe, overcrowded concourses. This failure has forced an immediate, humiliating shift in the geopolitical power dynamic of the tournament. Mexico and Canada, originally treated as secondary entities by the United States Soccer Federation, are now actively rescuing the reputation of the 2026 World Cup. While American venues struggle with basic crowd control, Mexico City and Monterrey are demonstrating flawless execution. The Mexican government deployed specialized transport fleets and thousands of daily coordinators to ensure that fans navigate the cities safely and efficiently. In Canada, local officials in Vancouver stabilized regional logistics and achieved 100% stadium capacity for their opening matches without a single recorded delay. The international media can no longer hide the stark contrast between the host nations. The corporate model implemented in the United States relies entirely on artificial glamour, extreme pricing, and exclusive luxury suites. It has failed to replicate the genuine passion found in traditional football cultures. Mexico and Canada possess the authentic enthusiasm, the operational discipline, and the community trust that the United States Soccer Federation attempted to buy with billions of dollars. They are delivering real football culture. President Donald Trump now faces a profound dilemma as international criticism intensifies. The White House wanted this tournament to serve as a grand advertisement for American exceptionalism and operational perfection. Instead, global broadcasters are sending images of empty stadiums, gridlocked highways, and collapsing fans directly into the living rooms of billions of viewers worldwide. The aggressive commercialization has alienated the core audience of the sport, creating an unprecedented public relations disaster for the administration. The tables have turned completely, leaving the world's largest economy dependent on its neighbors to save its most expensive sporting venture. The corporate illusion has shattered. The corporate crisis unfolding across American stadiums is not just an abstract problem for billionaires, politicians, and FIFA executives. It is a direct financial threat that will ultimately impact your personal bank account. You might believe that because you did not purchase a $3,000 ticket to see a match in Los Angeles or Dallas, this failure does not affect you. That assumption is completely incorrect. The macroeconomic shockwaves of this miscalculated tournament are already traveling down the economic ladder, and everyday consumers will ultimately foot the bill. First, look at the hospitality and short-term rental bubble that has suddenly burst. Driven by highly exaggerated economic forecasts provided by FIFA and local organizing committees, Thousands of property owners and small business owners in the 16 host cities heavily leveraged themselves. They spent tens of thousands of dollars upgrading properties, purchasing inventory, and raising prices by 400%, expecting a massive influx of wealthy international tourists. Now, with vast sections of stadiums sitting empty and international fans canceling travel plans due to extreme heat and transport failures, these local economies are facing an immediate recession. This sudden drop in consumer spending forces small businesses into bankruptcy, triggers local job losses, and destabilizes municipal tax revenues, which inevitably leads to higher property taxes for regular residents. Second, the financial damage will directly hit your media subscription costs. Major television networks and streaming platforms paid billions of dollars for the exclusive broadcasting rights to these 104 matches. To recoup these massive investments amidst declining viewership and falling corporate advertising rates caused by the empty stadium optics, these media conglomerates will restructure their pricing models. You will see a sharp increase in your monthly cable bills, sports streaming subscriptions, and internet service fees before the end of 2026. These corporations always pass their losses on to the average consumer. Furthermore, corporate sponsors like major beverage companies and credit card processors are absorbing massive public relations losses. To protect their profit margins and satisfy their Wall Street shareholders, these multi-billion-dollar corporations will quietly adjust the retail prices of their everyday consumer goods. Every time you purchase a product or utilize a financial service from these tournament sponsors, you are indirectly subsidizing the operational failures of the United States Soccer Federation. The ultimate irony of the 2026 World Cup is that the average person will pay for the arrogance of the elite. Three distinct economic and political paths now lie ahead for the remainder of this historic tournament. In the first scenario, the sheer power of football saves the event. FIFA capitulates to intense pressure from Washington, slashes ticket prices for neutral matches, and reschedules games to cooler evening hours. Magnificent knockout matches between global titans like Brazil and France will captivate audiences, completely erasing the early operational embarrassments from public memory. In the second scenario, the crisis deepens into absolute disaster. A major knockout match is abruptly halted due to extreme heat or severe weather infrastructure collapse. An aggressive public legal battle erupts between the White House and FIFA over financial liability, permanently tarnishing the international commercial reputation of American sports hosting capabilities. In the third and most likely scenario, a silent corporate compromise is reached. Elite American corporations quietly purchase massive blocks of vacant seats to artificially create the illusion of a full stadium for television broadcasts, while Mexico and Canada assume greater operational control over continental logistics to save face. This division leaves us with a profound truth. The 2026 World Cup was engineered to be an unmatched monument to capitalism, scale, and modern corporate dominance. Yet these opening days have proven that while billions of dollars can buy premium stadium luxury suites, high-definition digital advertisements, and expansive broadcasting rights, they cannot purchase the authentic passion that defines the soul of the global game. The United States Soccer Federation attempted to run a sacred cultural festival like an exclusive corporate convention, revealing a deep, systemic vulnerability that money simply cannot fix. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you value the artificial corporate grandeur of the United States or the authentic passion of Mexico? Subscribe to stay informed as this geopolitical drama unfolds.